Keri with the green cups. Everyone, see it? Let me know whether you guys want to get your own cups. I have them. Thank you. I'm also here with Traction. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. Well, I first want to say thank you, Keri, for having me on. I'm Traction, aka Traction Music. You can find me online by Traction. I'm a pop singer. I do multiple genres, but I'm focusing a lot on pop and electronic house and so forth. So I hope you check me out online and leave a nice positive comment, please. I love inspiration. And I'll hand it back over to you, Keri.
Well, I'm going to be interrogating Traction for a little bit. So as you guys know, that I do like to talk about different things that happen, issues, everyday life, what goes on, things that people are scared to talk about, especially in the Caribbean community as well as the Black community. I talk normally about domestic violence, depression, anxiety, and of course here and there other things. I wanted to know, have you ever had a time when you felt depressed, and what did you do to get out of that?
Of course, I'm a human being. I think, all right, I'm not going to say that if you don't get depressed or anxious, you're not a human being. All right, so please forgive me for the people who are like super lucky never ever to be depressed or to be anxious. So first of all, it's very important for you to recognize that depression and anxiety at whatever level it is, that you know that you're not alone. Other people go through it, and I hope that people take depression and anxiety seriously. People joke about it, but it's not a joking incident, because you have people who are killing themselves and killing other people because of that, you know? So my whole thing with that is try to do something that motivates you, that doesn't hurt. Don't be killing people. That doesn't hurt anyone. So that's the whole thing. And what I do is, like, the biggest thing is listening to music or surrounding yourself in positivity. So sometimes when you're overly anxious, overly depressed, you have to really hone in those positive thoughts and just push away those negative. And sometimes it's very hard, because it's people, sometimes some people cause you to be depressed or anxious, so you definitely have to like back them away. And it's going to be hard, because if it's your spouse, your parent, your sibling, your best friend, it's very, very hard, especially if you live with them, to push them away. That's why I ask people, if somebody has indicated to you that you're depressed or you're anxious, please respect them and their space at that time, and give them that moment of positivity to get themselves back together.
Thank you.
That was so well
said. I do believe that depression, a lot of times people don't even know that they're depressed. So they go through stuff and they're just thinking that this is just a way of being for them. So I like to spread awareness that there's signs and symptoms of depression. It can go from minimal to major, and they're talk to someone. Don't hold it back. Talk about if you're feeling you're not your normal self. Talk to someone, and believe me that there are people out there that this is their job, this is their life. They do things like this. So get help if this is what it is. Talk. I promise you that will help a lot if you talk to someone.
And actually meditation works a lot, whether it's with people or not with people. So yeah, and sometimes it can be troubling to get the right help, but don't be discouraged. Just fill yourself with positive thoughts. That's what I would tell people, because yeah, it's hard. Sometimes I get like very, very sad myself, but that's what we all do, because if things doesn't get right, sometimes they get a little sad. And I mean, that's just part of
the
life.
reason, alright, so I never told well, I did start off by telling you guys why I came up with this. There was a time when I was going through some form of depression. Something happened. So what I would call it is situational depression. So because of a cause, this is the effect, and that put me into a state of depression. And one of the things that I couldn't get myself out of it. Like I just kept on falling back into the trap. Like I would still go to work, I'd still be around people if I needed to, I still took care of my daughter. But after that, when that is done, I'd be back in my track. I didn't like going out. I stayed home a lot and I'll be in my ways. And I talked to a friend of mine. So a friend of mine is actually someone I called up, and it's like, you know, this is how I've been feeling, X, Y, and Z, and this and this and this. I'm listing out all the things, and she was just like, wow, have you ever thought about therapy? And then she told me that, hey, me, my husband, and I went to therapy, but I couldn't use his insurance, so I stopped. You know, after a while, she was using his insurance, but I stopped. And he goes to therapy. And it was in my head, I'm like, I'm not the only one, you know? And that's how I started thinking. It's like, I'm not the only one that's going through this. But because I was so tunnel vision in my own depression, I didn't realize that other people go through the same thing, have the same thinking, needing the same help. And that's what made me start this channel, because I realized that why am I focused on myself when if someone else know that they're going through something, that there are other people that go, you know what, that made a world of a difference for me when I found out that they're going through stuff. Not to say I want them to, but it's just, it makes me feel like, okay, we're human.
Exactly.
You know, it brought it down. Like, listen, I didn't know they were going through stuff. I didn't know they were dealing with things until she said something to me. But I reached out and talked to her, and that's when I found out that that's what's happened. I said, you know what? These are stuff that we go through every day. Everyday situation is just how we handle it and deal with it. And if we have the right people around us, people who care, people who want to see us succeed in life, then this is what we need. We need to surround ourselves with positive people, just like Traction said. And we also want to make sure that we seek the help that we need. So that's the reason why I started this. And to be honest with you, as soon as I start this, I was over it.
Very, very good.
You know, so it's, you know, I found something positive out of my situation. And not only that, I reached out to someone that was so much help for me, because of that, I felt like I can help others. So I am really thankful for that. And, you know, it's just little things that, you know, the light bulb click in your head. And
well, I commend you for doing this, and congratulations for getting out of there. And I'm very happy to know that you got the help. This is actually a topic I could spend a year on talking about. Yeah, I could spend a year and talk about this. I would say, like, let me tell you, in a nutshell, instead of telling you a million stories like the audience, next time I'll tell you some stories. Thanks for giving me But keep in there through the ups and downs. And let me tell you, life is a precious gift. So that's the number one thing, is that you're given a gift of life. And if you believe in positive and negative, for those who don't want to call positive this and negative that, I noticed that most people believe in positive and negative. They don't believe in, like, religion or whatever, so I won't say anything. But the whole thing is that you have to, the negative doesn't want you to enjoy life.
That's true.
The negative wants to make you frustrated. The negative wants to rob you of your life, because part of your living is supposed to be there to help others and to do positive for others. So remember that you have that the negative doesn't want anything good. But honestly, I mean, I've been sad myself, and you have to keep fighting those thoughts. You have to say, listen, I have my life.
Mm-hmm.
I am young, or I'm middle aged, or I'm old, and listen, I want to go out there. I want to live this life that I have, because when it's done, and I'm not going to prematurely kill it.
Right.
So you have to just keep in that positive realm. And I have several stories of me even trying. Sometimes when you feel sad and people keep putting you down and saying all sort of stuff, you have to keep on fighting. You know, let me tell you. All right, let me tell you. There's one story I'm so inclined to tell you, but I tell you, we can talk for like days and days and days. So thank God it's Friday and it's the weekend. But I won't talk for days. But let me tell you, I have to tell you this story. I was in this relationship, and we decided to do relationship counseling to save our relationship, right? And that was a little bit sad, because you know, you want your relationship, and you know, you kind of, if you're in a relationship, you kind of like the person, and you really want it to work, and you wonder what the hell is going on, why it's not working, and
exactly.
It kind of was making me a little sad. Went to the therapist on my insurance, right? And we're there to get therapy, to get help. Therapist was not effective. The therapist told us, oh, we don't need therapy, because apparently that office was an office for a lot of drug addicts and people who seemed crazy and delusional and stuff. So that therapist didn't connect to us. And I'm sharing that with you for you guys to know that don't stop. The two underlying goals for being on the other side of depression and anxiety is that, number one, God gave you a gift of life. A lot of people don't have that gift, and you have to use it to its full potential. Which means that you can't keep yourself trapped in depression. And I know it's going to be sad to get out of it, but you have to get out of it. What you need to do is just keep on fighting. And for me, the fight was that, hey, you know, I mean, regardless of me being with a person or not or whatever, I just said, listen, life is a gift. Life is a gift. And I'm not going to live my life feeling so bad. I don't want to live my life when millions of people in the east of the world is their life is like nothing
with their life.
Exactly.
So it's true. I agree.
So anyway, I'm very, very glad that you were out of that, and I'll tell you a lot more offline.
My next thing I wanted to ask you, so how do you feel about domestic violence? I know for me, we had like a two video discussion on domestic violence about a scenario, and then we had a discussion about domestic violence, period, and how I believe that even though I do not condone domestic violence, I totally feel like you're, as a woman, keep your hands to yourself. As a man, keep your hand to yourself. But I also believe that some people are in relationships and it's like a cycle, so it's more like it's common. You know, they think that the person will change. Other people fear their life if they leave because of the threat that they get. So I just want to hear from you.
Oh my God, I have enough story to, as the Jamaican people would say. Where to start? All right, this is my whole thing on domestic violence. I really, really think that it's not positive to engage in like engage in like domestic violence. Now, if you push somebody a little bit, you know, I mean, this is the thing. Both of us are. People are people, and you know, all right, scrap that. You know, the bottom line is, because you can't say if somebody touch you, oh Lord God, domestic violence. I mean, I hope you relate to it. Like that, it's not.
I also gonna bring up something too. I have a very good friend that watches my show. I am not saying I condone it, and I'm not saying that female do not do things to be spiteful to men too. I'm just saying, on a whole, with statistic around the world, even in the eastern part, especially in those parts where men do not rape women, it is more known. Domestic violence is more an issue, especially over in those places, because they do not rape women. They see women as a material, an object, something to own. So, you know who you are, A.
Well, this is what I have to say, honestly, and I know the type of person that A is. Okay? All right, so this is what I have to say. Well, domestic violence is not, that's a negative thing, and that's a power thing, and it happens.
No, she takes the men's side. She's just strictly saying that she feels that more women do it to men, but statistically speaking, it happens to more.
She get her statistics from
that's what I'm saying.
People would say, "Oh my God,
I love her to death," but I'm just saying, like, even statistics. If you travel the world, you'll see that it's overall more women get more physically abused than men. Not only physically abused, it's more mental, and it's because men believe that women are objects, something to own. And I'm not saying that it's just here in the United States, it's all over. What I'm saying, I'm not discrediting that females do not do it to spite a man. And I've seen that too. I've seen where a female, let's pick up the phone. Oh, he hit me just to get the guy out the house. You know, call.
Well, that's even another discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
But and I agree 1,000% with you. This is, I mean, domestic violence. You can say a lot of things, but this is what I have to say, and this is what I try to tell, you know, especially men. Listen, you are a rock, and I'm a pillow. You are 1,000 times stronger than me, and stronger than a woman. So you shouldn't, if you hit a woman, especially with a force, like what I've noticed, some men hit a woman with a force like they're hitting a man, because, you know, they have a different force from hitting a man than from hitting a child. Because it's mental. They're like, oh, this is a big person, almost my height, and they almost categorize it as a man, so they use it more energy, and that, you know, I mean, most women can't give the same blows as their partner back, so that's just not right. Like domestic, men you have to be conscious of that, you know.
Yes.
So,
and I'm looking at you without a smile.
And yeah, women going to, I mean, people in general are going to just do things to hurt. I mean, I have a schoolmate, I can tell you this, that her husband shot her and killed the kids, and we heard a lot about these stuff, and
we turn our head when you hear them. You just like, you know, from they are going through it, and people turn their head. When I was growing up, that's the same thing. Like I heard stories of like people until they're dead, and they're like, oh, we didn't know, so we didn't know, so that man X, Y, or Z. And these are just stuff that people, it's like a gossip thing to them. So it's like, it's so easy for people to gossip about negative, but instead of helping, they don't want to. And that's my problem right now with the world. I feel like we don't try to help. You know, we always want to talk bad about. Who cares if there's something negative that happened with you? I want to see your positive. Let me make your positive shine, because if I keep on focusing on your negative, I'm putting you down. You understand? Because you probably, I don't know what you're going through with your negativity. So I'm putting you down. If I'm spreading negative, how am I helping you? Or how am I helping the people if I'm just going to gossip about them if they're going through stuff? You know?
I am telling you. Honestly, I have grown up hearing a lot of sus, and guess what happened? I heard when I was growing up, they always used to say women were the biggest gossipers.
That's
and guess
not
what
true.
happened? I actually, well,
my circle changed, and I saw that it's
men
not
a lot.
true.
Men gossip a lot too, and men know more
because females go to the men,
uh-huh.
pillow talk.
Mm-hmm.
it's they talk a lot. They just run their mouth. Them talk a lot, and to me, I think that, you know what, things and times are changing as well. Mm-hmm. So the men are acting more feminine, and mm-hmm. I think that just eggs on. Egg it on, like it. That's what I'm thinking, because there's no other explanation.